Hey everybody, it's Paula here from the Excel Club and welcome to another Excel video. In today's video, we are going to learn how to use the CoinGecko API to get historical ticker information for cryptocurrencies into Excel and how to create a chart on this. Now, if you're not interested in cryptocurrencies, don't worry about it. This is a great example of data transformations that you can do with Excel when you're connecting to APIs or any other data point. But before we do get stuck into this video, I do hope that you will subscribe to my channel and hit that notifications button so you don't miss any more of my videos. Previously, I published a video on connecting to the CoinMarketCap API to get historical cryptocurrency data, but unfortunately, that API changed and became a premium API, and you can no longer get historical information for free on cryptocurrencies from CoinMarketCap, but you can from CoinGecko, and that's what we are going to look at today. Now, I'm only going to show you how to get the historical prices for one. I'm going to show you the opening, closing, high and low. So how you can basically create a stock chart by pulling in data from the CoinGecko API. Now, when you're creating a stock chart in Excel, the data has to be stored in a particular order. You must have the date. You must then have in the next column, you must have the opening in the next column, high, low, and close, all in separate columns. And when we connect to this API, we're given the information in a list. And we need to be able to split this list down so that it shows the data in different columns. Now, I'm on the CoinGecko website at the moment, and I'm going to hop over to their API page. Now, it is their documentation page, so it is API version 3 that we are actually looking at. Now, when you go onto this page, all of these APIs are completely free. There are limits on what it is that you can use, on the amount of calls that you can make per minute and per hour, but the API is completely free. Now, some of the APIs in here are simple. For example, you can get a simple price. You can get information on coins, on contracts, on exchanges, on finance, index, derivatives, status updates, events, exchange rates, trending, and global. So there's a huge amount of APIs in here that you can use to get live and historic cryptocurrency information and data. Awesome for building dashboards. Awesome for tracking your portfolio. So let's get stuck in and have a look. First, what we're going to do is learn how you can create the URL that you're going to need in Excel to connect to the data source. And we're going to learn directly from the CoinGecko website and their sample API codes. So let's have a look at this very first simple one. And it is a simple price. And allows you to get the price of any cryptocurrency in the supported currency that you need. Now, when you expand these on the page, you have the option, I'm just going to press cancel there, you have the option to try it out. When you press try it out, it opens up these little boxes here for you, and you can go through them all. These are the parameters, and you fill them in based on your own requirements. So let's just say we wanted to get the price of Bitcoin in euro, and we also wanted to include the market cap, the 24-hour volume, and the 24-hour change. So in the first field, we need the ID, which is the string. Now, there is a list. I'm going to show you that list in a minute. But if you don't know the coins, there is a list, an API that you can run that will return a list for you, and you can get a list from there. So I've put in Bitcoin in here. Now, I want this to be converted into euro. So my versus currency is going to be euro. Then I have these optional. So these first two in bold are required. Then I have the optional. So do I want to include the market cap? False is the default. I do. So I've selected true and I just typed that in there. Same with the 24-hour volume. False is the default. I've changed it to true, and the 24-hour change. Now I'm going to leave this last one blank. I don't want to know when it was last updated, and I'm going to press execute. And very simply, this sample will run and pull all the data from the API And we can see here the download. This is the body response. This is what's going to be returned to us. So we can see the current price of Bitcoin is 15,930. The market cap is there, the volume is there, and the 24-hour change, and that is in percentage. So that's what will be returned to you, and it'll be returned in a JSON format in Excel. So how do you get that there? Well, up here under curl, you will see a HTTPS request. You need to copy the request once you have created it, and we will place that in Excel. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Now, you don't need the inverted commas on each side of the request of the URL. You just need the actual URL. Once you're familiar with the URLs, you can then go ahead and create them yourself. Like I know in here, this says Bitcoin just here. When I have it in Excel, if I wanted Litecoin, I could just overwrite that to say Litecoin. You don't have to come back here to regenerate the URLs. So that is just a quick example that I wanted to show you. The list that I was talking about of coins. So we see this get list, and I am going to execute this. And this is going to show me all of the coins that are available. We see here, now this is massively long. I'm not going to go down through it now. But if you're having difficulty identifying the coins or the coin code that you need, run this list and you will be able to find the coins that you need. Let me close that one up because it's the same for the markets. If you need a list of markets, you can get it in here, or a list of the this one, coins ID, is get current data. So it's the name, price, market, including exchange tickers for coins. So we see here we have a lot of information that we can pull in. And one of the bits of information, one of the API calls, is this coins ID open, high, low, close API. So this, I'm going to open it up, is going to allow us to reach in and get the opening, high, low, close point for our cryptocurrency based on a certain amount of days in a particular currency, the currency that you want. In my case, it will be in euro. So we can give this a try. So we'll start by pressing try it out. And when we press try it out, we see our description fields open up in the API on the website. So the coin that we are going to look at here is going to be Litecoin. Now you can put in any of the coins from the coin list. The target is going to be euro, and we are going to just look for the last 30 days. Now you can go for max. You can see here there is quite a lot of options that you can choose, and you can put in basically the days as an integer or the word max to get the entire history. Then you press execute. Once you press execute, it's going to reach in, it's going to get the data for us, and under downloads, it's going to show us what will be returned to us. Now, at the moment, this doesn't make a whole heap of sense, but what we have is the date in Unix format. So we need to convert this, and I'm going to show you that in Power Query, to the real date format. We then have opening, high, low, and close. So we need to also label these as opening, high, low, and close. And we need to make sure that they're not in a list like this. So we have a lot of work to do. We can also see up here in our curl, this HTTPS request. This is what we want because this is what we're going to use to connect to the API and pull the information back into Excel. And this is historical information that we're pulling in. So let me open up a version of Excel, and I'm starting in a brand new workbook. To get the data in, we need to go to the data ribbon. From the data ribbon, we need to go to From Web. If you haven't got a little From Web here in your Get and Transform Data group, press on this drop down, Get Data, and you may find Web in here. So From Web, and you press From Web and a little dialog box will open. In here, you paste in the URL that we copied from the website, and then we can press OK. And this will then reach into the data. It'll open up Power Query and bring back the JSON file for us. Now, Excel can't read a JSON file, so we need to use Power Query to convert it into a format that Excel can read. So what Excel has found is a list. And what we need to do with this list is convert it first to a table. We can just say OK to this, and we now have a table that contains cells that contain a list. So we need to expand these values to a new row or to extract the values. We are going to select extract values. Now, extract values is going to extract all of the values from that particular list into that one cell. So we need to split the values, and we need to have a separator between the values that we can easily identify. So this is where we select this delimiter. So let's select a comma to separate our values. So now we can see, I'll expand this. In each cell, we have the date in the format that we need to convert. We then have the opening, the high, the close, and the low values. Now from here, we can do some transformations on this data to get it into a different format. So from our transform ribbon, we can select split column. And we want to split column by the delimiter. And we're going to select comma because that's the delimiter that we put in when we were extracting the list into a cell. So once we have done this, we can see now we have each of the different values in a different column. We can then go ahead and rename some of these columns. So if we right click, we can rename this to opening. We can rename this one. So we will rename this one opening, high. This one is low. And this last one is the daily close price. And that now gets all of the row headers in place for us, except for this date one. Now we need to do some work on this date. What we need to do is convert this now from a format into a date format that's easily understood by us. Now we can do this very, very easily by just adding a new column. So we can select add column, and what we're going to do is we are going to add a custom column, because a custom column will allow us to write an actual formula, and we are going to call this date. Now we are converting from a Unix date into basically a normal standard date. And a Unix date is based on seconds and milliseconds away from the 1st of January in 1970. So we can start by writing our formula. And our formula is going to be, we're going to start with the hashtag sign. And we are going to say date time. And the date time, first of all, we're going to put in 1970. Then we're going to put in 1 for the year, 1 for the month. And then for the minutes, for the hours, 0, minutes, 0, and seconds is also going to be 0. So we've taken that date because, as I said, the Unix is based on the number of seconds and milliseconds away from this date. So this is our start date. And then what we need to add to this is the duration that's given to us, because that's what this is actually based on. Now we see this is plus 12, so we know it is based on milliseconds. So we will use the hash sign, and this time we are going to use duration. And in our duration, we are going to say 0 hour or 0 years, 0 months, 0 days, and then we're going to select our time. So we can take in our column 1.1 as our time, and to this, we're going to divide that by 1,000 and close the bracket. Now, when we hit enter, we can say OK to this. We see now we have a date time formula, or a date time column in here. With this date time column, we can go and we can transform this to just the date column. We can then reposition it, and we can delete this column 1.1 because we no longer need this column. The last thing we need to do is make sure that all our data types is correct. It's a standard thing that you should do before you import your data into Excel. So we have date, which is fine. Then we have our decimal. So to check our data points, if we go to the transform ribbon and the data type, and decimal number is fine for each of these. You could alternatively change these to a currency. So if I select currency, let's now change them to a default of a dollar currency, but I have actually pulled them in euro. So I'm going to leave it as a decimal number instead. So I'm just going to replace the last step that I made with a decimal number. So now we have our data. All we need to do now is load this into Excel. So if we say file, close and load, this is going to load this as a table into Excel. So now we have our table in Excel. We have our table name pulled in the same as our query name. If we wanted to edit our table name, I'm going to go over here and select edit in our queries and connections. And let's change the name of this. So this is going to be our 30 days open, high, low, close chart. And again, just close and load, and that will change the name of this for us up here. Now what we want to do is go ahead and insert our stock chart. So we can select all of our data. So I pressed Control, Shift and down arrow. And from our home ribbon, or from our insert ribbon, I'm going to select our stock charts. Now you need to select the correct chart, and the data that we have is open, high, low, close. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, we need the data in a certain order, and that is the order that it's shown here, the open, high, low, close. And you can see that we have open, high, low, close in that order. If for some reason you have them in a different order, go back into your Power Query and reverse the positioning of these. So let's go ahead and we will insert our stock chart. I'm going to expand this chart so we can see it a little bit more. So we can go ahead and we can format this chart a little bit. For example, we can remove the series down the bottom. We can give the chart a title. We could also give these boxes a different color so we can understand them a little bit better. So that is how you can connect to the free CoinGecko API to get historical opening, high, low, close information into Excel and quickly chart it. This is dynamic. So we have it set for the last 30 days. Tomorrow, when the data updates, all we have to do is come along to our data ribbon and select refresh all. That's going to go ahead and refresh our query and pull in the last 30 days. So it's always showing you the current last 30 days information. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do subscribe to my channel and hit that notifications button so you don't miss any more of my videos. I also hope that you will share this video across your social profiles. We're going to look at some more of these APIs in later videos, so do please stay in touch and I will see you next time. Goodbye now.